When we look at nominal versus real GDP, nominal GDP is the value of goods and services using current prices, while real GDP is nominal GDP but adjusted for changes in inflation. It is sometimes referred to as GDP at constant prices because we are keeping the prices constant. If inflation is positive, real GDP will be lower than nominal GDP. However, if inflation is negative, which means deflation is happening, then real GDP will be higher than the nominal GDP. To move from nominal GDP to real GDP, we sometimes use something called GDP deflator, which is simply price changes from a base year. In other words, we find out the rate of inflation to adjust for it. The formula we use for converting your nominal GDP into real GDP is this one, where real GDP is simply nominal GDP times price index in the base year. Remember that the price index in base year is always 100, while price index in current year, which is the rate of inflation. So, for example,
Quick pause. If you're finding value in this explanation, there's so much more to discover. At All Academy, we break down every A-level concept with the same level of clarity. Now, let's continue.
if the nominal GDP is 800 in the base year, and let's say next year it turned out to be 864, while the price index, of course, will always be 100 in the base year, and next year, let's say the rate of inflation is 5%, or your price index in current year is 105, which is, by the way, also called GDP deflator, then we can use this formula to find out our real GDP. Our real GDP will be nominal GDP, which is simply 864, times price index in base year, which is 100, over price index in current year, or GDP deflator, is 105, and I get myself the value, which is equal to 822.86, which means that although your GDP has gone up from 800 to 864, which means by 64, of this 64, only 22.86 is happening because your output has gone up. The rest of it is simply because there is a 5% inflation that is taking place. So we want to deflate our nominal GDP to make it become real GDP by using this formula.
If you found that helpful, imagine what you could achieve with the full economics course. Over 60,000 students have used All Academy to transform their A-levels journey. Don't wait and take the first step today.